Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special upload. We're going to be doing the new headlight install on the 19 Tacoma here. The special thing about these headlights is that they're not only the Kustom 54 headlights, the AB6 style headlights, but they are even more special than that. They're a new model from Kustom 54, and it allows the DRL to also change colors and have the full RGB effect, as well as the bright white DRL. And these have been equipped with the Morimoto projectors. So I'm very excited for this, and the guy at Kustom 54 is very supportive with these. He reiterated that these things were like the next generation. So here we have what I have on the truck, which is stock TRD Pro headlights, right? And the only thing I've done to them is just equip them with LEDs. So at this point, we're going to get right into the install of these headlights, which starts with obviously the removal of these headlights right here. And that's very simple. It's not an evil process at all. I've done them before. I've done it on my white 17. I did the Tacoma Beast headlights. Easy install, but I can tell you it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. Obviously, I started out with these TRD Pro blacked out lights. Obviously, this is a TRD Pros that came with these lights. They are phenomenal lights, don't get me wrong, but ever since the day I seen the Kustom 54s come out, I had to have them. And I have a few buddies that have them, and they're just nothing but happy with them. They look phenomenal, and I couldn't go wrong with the customer service from them, and the fact that these lights are all new. They're all new design, not whole new design per se, but they have the color changing DRL and the Demon Eye, instead of the standard white DRL with the sequential turn signals. So I couldn't go wrong. You know, I could picture in my head the colors that I can choose and to make it really look cool and really adapt to the truck, as well as the new Morimoto housings, projector housings that are gonna be really, really bright and really light up the road. So here is the passenger side headlight. And obviously, it's obviously the same thing, and the wiring is also the same for the passenger side. You get your connections for your stock harness, and here I want to show you what else is included. You're going to be given, for this model headlight, the two RGB remotes. One, I'm guessing, going to control the Demon Eye, and the other controlling the DRL. And here's your harnesses. These two harnesses look like they're going to be for your DRLs itself, and all your RGB functions in these harnesses, which will connect to the headlights. And this is where I feel that you will be tapping into the fuse box. Like, here's your fuse connection right there. It looks like that right there, which should be pretty simple. We've already done that on the truck before for another lighting thing. So we'll go along with that and show you guys how to install it. Alright guys, so here we are. I've popped my hood on my truck, and the first step we're really going to get into is removing this entire grill assembly off the truck, obviously to access the bolts and the screws to take the headlight off of this side anyways. So to do that, right, is going to be two 10mm bolts on each side, one here and one here we'll be removing. And there's also plastic clips that hold the sides in. One being this one, which is zip tied because I broke it before. And this one over here, which is still there. We need to remove this and just use a flathead screwdriver or whatever you feel comfortable using. Pin removal tool or a flathead will work. Another thing I want to point out, right, is I'm already running the Running for Tacos anyways grill light kit. And how that works is obviously they just plug it right into your grill, and then the connection is just going right to your low beam harness for your current headlights. Now I believe I can make those still work with these, and we will find that out. But I believe these grill lights will still work with the new Kustom 54 headlights. So before you guys actually remove this, if you guys have like a 2018 and up Tacoma, you're obviously going to have to remove your sensor connection to get the grill out, and that is just easy as unplugging this and pulling it out. So once you guys have everything disconnected, the next thing is literally to just pull this whole assembly off. And every time I do this, it's just gonna feel like something's breaking. It's just the way it sounds. Nothing is breaking. It's just a cringy noise. And you just go around, tug it off. All right, give it a tug. Yeah, that's the sound I'm talking about, but it just pops out. And once you get the whole thing out, we'll move on to the next step. Once you got the grill assembly off, the next step to do is pull the clips on either side that are located right here, and then right here on the passenger side. And then what you're gonna wanna do is, it made it easy for me because I already have a aftermarket bumper, but you're going to have to expose this bolt that's in here, right? And the way to do that is to pull off the hardware, the bolt, and the pin that you're gonna have, or the screw that you're gonna have on the factory bumper, if you're running a factory bumper, and pull this out by hand. I suggest putting your hand behind it and pushing and pulling at the same time. I don't suggest putting a screwdriver or anything in there to screw it with paint, but that's up to you. So the fender flare has to pull off, and then from there you can keep pushing it from the backside to pull the bumper off. You don't want to take the whole thing off, but you just want to expose it enough to pull it down and get to that bolt to undo your headlights. So here we are with the new headlight, and most of all your wiring connections for your headlight to harness is going to be the same. Obviously I'm running for Tacos grill light kit, so it's just going to tap into the low beam, I believe, and all the rest should connect. However, the only issue I'm having is that it's a 3-prong. The Kustom 54s came with a 3-prong turn signal connection, and the factory harness that I have has a 2-prong. So what I'm doing is just I removed the one from the original headlights, and I'm just modifying the notch to fit into the Kustom 54 housing. So currently what we're doing is not actually mounting the light yet, but we've had all our connections plugged in, and right now I am trying to figure out how to tap into the ignition power to run the RGB and the DRL, etc. Right? So there's one more thing I want to point out, is that there's a 4-prong plug on your factory harness, right? And that, if I can show you on this stock headlight, right, is this guy right here. Now that guy right here is not on your Kustom 54 light, right? So I'm gonna guess and say I don't need it. I'm gonna leave it blank and see what happens, right? My setup's a little more interesting than most, because I'm running the Cali raised fuse block there that runs my module so that I can run all my lights, right? So this guy is my ignition power, and all my fuses obviously run each accessory light to the cab. So what I feel like I'm going to do is just tap in to the wire that connects to my module, because that only turns on, it sees power when the truck is started, which will mean I will have power to my DRL and my color changing options when the truck is on, when I turn the truck on, not all the time. What they provide is a fuse adapter per se that you just insert into a fuse port into your fuse blocks, and you use that as ignition power. Obviously, like I stated, my setup's a little bit differently. I have a ton of shit going on in here. It's a bit more confusing than what it should be, but I will show you. If you're gonna run this kind of setup and you already have this kind of setup, all you gotta do is just find ignition power. And we've already found ignition power because this module turns on with ignition power. It's not on all the time. So this wire going to my cab is only hot when I turn the truck on. So that's what we're gonna tap into, and we're gonna see if that works out. So here's where I'm at. I've got both headlights in and wired up. Now there's been a few troubles along the way that I want to explain to you guys if you guys buy these. And the first thing being is that these headlights will come with blinker bulbs already in them, which they look like this. And these have 3 pins instead of 2. That my truck anyways, being a 19, had like 2 pins for the blinker. So I had to swap these from the factory lights and obviously modify the like the holes and the notches on the actual light to make them fit into the Kustom 54 lights housings. That was the first thing that I ran across. The second was the fact that I will post pictures as I'm talking, but the connections for the low and high beam, the pins on the Morimoto module were too wide and they would not mate with my factory harness for the low beam and high beam. So what I did for now was literally just hard pin it, removing his connectors, and just pinned it directly to my factory connections, and they work now. And obviously I made sure those are tight and taped up for now, but again, Kustom 54 has good customer service. He's going to be sending me adaptive harnesses to run with the application I have and to go to the stock harnesses, because unfortunately the pins were too big and too wide. Other than that, they're in. They look good. They look amazing, actually. I have not put the grill in yet, just to show you how I routed things in here. So I've got my modules and everything. All the wires go across here, and they come. Obviously, the whole RGB system works as a circuit, so it goes off of both light to light, and then power to your battery or whatever you want to go to. And you can use the fuse adaptive thing that he included to go to your fuse box. However, like I explained earlier, I'm just running the RGB system off of my hot wire that goes to my Cali raised Switch Pro module. So that's how that works. But yeah, I will post pictures as I'm talking to show you what I'm talking about with the low and high beam. That was the biggest dilemma that I had. I just kept connecting it and making sure my polarity was correct, and nothing, and it's just got a little bit frustrating, but I figured it out. It was definitely the pins not mating up correctly and not making contact because they were too wide for my factory harness. Another note to take note on is that you're not using your factory DRL plug from your factory harness. That goes away, and obviously you're not going to be using the high beams on the new lights. They are obsolete. Don't bother taking the rubber cover off of the rear of the light, because you're not going to use it. Everything is going through the main projector for your low and high. You guys can figure out the best way you want to route. I routed it this way. I have my modules zip tied in there. My other module zip tied here. It's a lot of wiring to try to make it as neat as possible. It doesn't get in the way of anything. So that is just some of the troubles I had, but in the end, it's worth it. They look great, and I'm going to get this thing finished and back together, and I'll show you the actual function of the lights with the RGB controllers and the way at least the Morimoto low beams look in daylight. So we'll get right to that. Alright guys, so here's what the lights look like when they are not on, but installed fully. Obviously with the hood down and everything else installed. Get that really nice, aggressive look. A lot different than the factory lights or anything else that you can buy. And now from here, I will show you what they look like when they are on. And before I turn the lights on, here are the 2 separate remotes you will have. One remote being for the DRL and the other remote being for the demon eyes. They are both the same, and they actually have some cool capability. The power for the light is obviously this power button, and you can change it using this color wheel, making a custom color, whatever color you want. And I'll show that, and I'll demonstrate that. You also have like different blinking options and color changing options you can change. You also have like preset red, green, blue, and then white. And here down here at S1 and across, you have favorite options. So whatever color you may choose, you can hold down the S as basically like a stereo system. So your S will be your factory, your S will be your favorite. And the next one will be another favorite, and then some, whatever I have, red is my favorite, blue is my favorite. I can hold it down and set it. So another thing you want to take note is that this thing memorizes what you had it last at. So when you fire up the truck every time, it's going to be at your favorite setting or whatever you had it last on. So if I shut the truck off when it was red and I turn the truck back on, it's going to be red again. So remember that in certain states that they don't allow you to have certain colors while you're driving around. Remember to always change it to white if that's the case, or amber, or whatever you guys want to run. But just remember, take note that this thing has memory, and it will have on what you last had for a color. Hope you guys enjoyed this upload. These lights are fantastic. They're beautiful. I have no complaints on anything whatsoever. Make sure you guys hit up Kustom 54 to get yourself a set of these new full color changing RGB AB6 headlights. Great customer support. He will help you with everything that you need. I hope you guys enjoy the install. Take your time and install them and do a great job. The process to put them back and put your bumper back is the same as when you took it off. Take your time not to rip anything and not to mess anything up. But yeah, these things look great. Do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. As you see, there's stuff pouring in. We've been doing a ton of mods to the truck. As you see, there's a front runner rack behind me. That's also going to be an install video, as well as the CVT rooftop tent that's going to be included in that install, and as well as a separate video that I'm going to do for that. We also have Prinzu racks behind me in a box, because we're getting to that. We also have Rome boxes. We have Max tracks. We have all kinds of things going on here at on the channel, as well as some adventures coming. We did a nice trip to Lake George, New York. If you guys are following on my Instagram, it's at King Coma on Instagram. You guys can see the post from the past weekend, but I didn't do any filming for that. That was more of like a family trip with the girlfriend and have a good time. We did not have the tent mounted yet, unfortunately, but the next trip, which is coming up, we're gonna have the whole rig set up and ready to go. So I know another thing you guys are wondering is the full build specs on this truck, lift, tires, etc. I'm working on making a great video for that. I want to make it special, and I want to, make it unique in a certain way. So we're gonna get to filming that soon, as well as I know I promised you guys this a while ago. Jacob is coming back. We're gonna do a OV tune video on the 3rd gen Tacomas. I know there's a lot of OV tune videos out there already, but I have two good experts, Jacob being one of them, my buddy Sean being another, that I would like to do a video with us and just make our own upload on OV2. And as always, take care, have a great night.